Welcome back to the Traders Network. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. Thanks for joining us. We're broadcasting to you live from the Dallas KFXR 1190 AM Clear Channel Studios, streaming on the iHeart app and yorbamedia.com. All right, in this segment and the next two segments, I should say, I have got Dr. Bruce Bedrick. He is with Medbox. MDBX is the symbol. You want to look this one up. All right, he is just an amazing man. He's done some remarkable things in his past, and I just want to bring him on and give him a chance. Bruce, thanks for coming on the show, Dr. Bedrick.
Oh, thank you so much, Michael. Proud to be here, and thank you for the warm intro.
My pleasure. Give our audience a better feel for your leadership skills, the background that you bring to Medbox.
Okay, yes, I am currently the CEO of Medbox. Long storied history. Ultimately, the short story of the abridged version is how I got to where I am. I was essentially a victim of cancer. My mother passed away from metastatic breast cancer when I was only 10. Ultimately, I chose the path of becoming a physician and working in the holistic healthcare field as a chiropractor and a naturopathic holistic chiropractor. And I started my practice out treating chronic and degenerative conditions, focusing on people who were obviously very sick and dying and cancer. That practice evolved through the years, ultimately into performance healthcare and performance medicine. And ultimately, that led to the universe kind of bringing me forthright right into the marijuana space and working with Medbox. And Medbox really is founded on safety, security, and compliance. So the leadership I bring from the healthcare field really prepared me very well, not only for the Wall Street business aspect, but to take Medbox and our technology and our consulting and everything that's part of us and lead it through the entire industry of marijuana.
We have an idea what you're talking about, but give us a clear vision of what Medbox does.
Sure. Medbox is founded upon technology. We have patents for the automated dispensing of prescription pharmaceuticals. So we're not just focused on marijuana per se. We just are very famous for being the leaders of the marijuana industry. But we've got two divisions, both marijuana and traditional pharmaceuticals. And at the core of our business is these patents, which basically gave birth to this technology, which is the safest, most secure, most legally compliant way to store, inventory control, and dispense prescription pharmaceuticals and herbs. In terms of marijuana, in the marijuana industry, this technology sits behind the counter and obviously helps pharmacies or dispensaries as they are store and inventory control and dispense the medicines to the staff, in which turn it over to the patient. They're basically like safes that store and are full of software that can track everything in any transparent fashion. And so that's what's given birth to us in the marijuana industry, and based upon that niche of this technology, we are also the leading consultants in the emerging marijuana space. And in terms of our traditional pharmaceutical division of our company, we are in prototyping mode of very, very disruptive, evolutionizing technology that would make a significant difference to the way every person in this country will access their prescription pharmaceutical. It doesn't matter whether they're in a CVS or a Walgreens, or they're in a hospice, God forbid, or in a prison system, or at the doctor's office. We have technology that affects every single vertical and every access point to getting prescription pharmaceuticals into the retail customer.
Let's drill down into the technology. Bring that out for us.
Okay. So the best way I can describe it and create a visualization for anybody, consider the technology looks like a giant safe, about 6 feet tall, 6 feet wide, with computer software access run through either a point-of-sale unit, and a point-of-sale would be like a register for those people who don't know what a point-of-sale or a POS system is. Mm-hmm. So let's say you walked into, in this particular instance, a medical marijuana dispensary. Let's say, God forbid, once again, you or your loved one are sick. You need access to this medicine. You get your script. or I would say your doctor's recommendation, you would already have that in hand. You would have your state identification card already in hand, and you go to a dispensary, a medical marijuana dispensary, which basically looks like a doctor's office. Okay, you would register and go through the security process of becoming a patient of that dispensary. You would be allowed into the access room where the medicine is. The medicine is there for you to examine and take a look at, either through a display case or, depending on your particular state law, it's set up somewhere so you can look at it either by hand or, once again, through a display case. Once you've made your decision on whether that is purchasing the raw herb or a concentrate, meaning like an oil, which is very famous these days, you see in Dr. Gupta's specials on CNN, or perhaps an edible or an infused product where they take the concentrate or they take the raw herb and they infuse it into an edible product like a brownie or a cookie or a candy or something along those lines. All this product, which you may see on display, is stored in our secure storage unit into the Medbox, which is behind the counter. So at the counter where you're working with the dispensary staff, you tell the dispensary agent what you want. You can provide your fingerprint biometric because part of our technology provides anti-fraud measures. That's what's so phenomenal about it, is we can, through our software, not only keep the medicine and the product safe and temperature controlled, but we have essentially anti-fraud measures and security measures that go above and beyond anything else in the marketplace. So you go and you purchase your, or you tell the dispensary staff which product you want. You place your finger down to verify your existence of who you are and that you match your visual IDs. You're in the system, and assuming that the amount of medicine that you are asking for at the counter is allowable under your state law, the medicine will be dispensed behind the dispensary staff. It'll get dropped down, and it'll be delivered to the patient.
When you're touching your finger for the biometrics trigger or key, if you will, is that going to be a counter item, or is it something where you need to actually walk? Because I'm looking at this big box.
Oh, no, it's all basically run off the point of sale unit. So
Right.
If you're at the counter, you can slide your state card or your local dispensary card and press your finger down to access the system. You don't have to be touching the storage unit at all.
Okay, so I'm getting the feeling there's no humans necessary on this outside of just replenishing the inventory.
Well, no, that's not true, because the patient does not receive their medicine. The dispensary staff are the ones that ultimately operate the device and pull the medicine from the machine.
Wow. Okay. There are, that I know of, just a couple of states that are now legalizing marijuana. And I wanted to get your take. We got about a minute or so left in the segment. I wanted to get your take on where that's going. Do you think it's going to be prolific, or there's just still too much pushback for this to be mainstream with the world? I mean, obviously your stock is doing great with this, but tell me about that.
That is not a 1-minute answer, my friend.
Okay.
That is a 3-hour discussion, but the brief, abridged version is we are past the point of no return.
All right.
Pew Research Center out of D.C. has already come up with the majority of Americans supporting legalization in one form or another. And the feds, if you look at almost weekly now, are bringing out support in terms of trying to integrate the industry into our culture. So we are past the point of no return. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen everywhere. Maybe first medically, but ultimately, I believe in years to come, it will be recreational.
All right. Let's do this. Let's take a break right now before we go and talk about more of what you're doing, maybe the 2013 milestones, 2014 outlook on the next segment. But please, contact information and stock symbol for our investors in the radio listening audience.
Yes, the company is Medbox. The symbol is Mary David Bruce X-ray, MDBX. We are on the OTC, and our website is medbox.com.
All right, and special thanks to Monk Media and 1-800-PublicRelations.com for all their PR and media support. We'll be right back with Dr. Bedrick and MDBX Medbox. Welcome back to the Traders Network. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. Thanks for listening. We are broadcasting to you live from the Dallas KFXR 1190 AM Clear Channel Studios, streaming through the iHeart app in case you'd like to use your phone to listen to our show, and also on our website, yorbamedia.com. I'm joined on the show with Dr. Bruce Bedrick, CEO of Medbox, Inc., MDBX is the symbol. All right, Dr. Bedrick, I really appreciate you coming back. Let's settle down into the business of Medbox and talk about the milestones that you've accomplished in 2013 and your 2014 outlook.
Sure. The best way to describe not only Medbox's big milestones, but they're kind of industry milestones as well. I think what you saw in 2013 is more and more acceptance by more and more states. Mm-hmm. And as more and more states come on, Medbox gets busier and gets probably more well-respected in the industry, and we have more demand for our services and our product. And like I said, we don't just have the technology, we are the industry's leading consultants. We help investors, entrepreneurs, business people, and folks who want to get into the industry. We match these folks with opportunities within the marijuana industry, whether that's making applications to states or finding partnerships or joint ventures with them and bringing them opportunity, because there's a tremendous amount of opportunity in marijuana. It's hard to really conceptualize the entire industry that is marijuana, but it is massive. The opportunities are expansive in this emerging industry. If you look at some of the research that's been done by ArcView Research, they expect it to be a couple billion, if not a few $1 billion by the end of this year, and upwards of $10 billion in a few more years. And it's not just about the dispensing of marijuana itself. It's about all the ancillary businesses that are part of this growing industry, from real estate to technology, to cultivation technology, to financing, to the dispensaries themselves, to brands. And Medbox, as I bring you up through 2013 and 2014, is uniquely positioned as a leader in this industry. And one of the things that other people have to understand is that the milestones that we're reaching now are going to pale in comparison to the milestones we're trying to achieve and that will be achieved by government as we move forward in the years, the months and weeks and years to come. Ultimately, the industry as it stands right now hasn't even really begun. I like to call it an infantile industry.
Yep.
The industry will really start, call it what you will, the waving of the green flag or firing of the starting pistol, when ultimately Congress removes marijuana from the 1970 Controlled Substances Act. At that point, the larger companies, larger private equity companies, big tobacco, big pharma, big alcohol, all these big companies will be looking to enter into the space. And it's not the mom and pops that they're going to want to purchase. They're going to look to joint venture and or purchase a few polished gems that are already fully compliant, that are institutionalized, so to speak, that are audited, and that are firing on all cylinders. We believe at Medbox that Medbox is ideally placed and growing in such a way as to become one of the few polished gems, one of the few institutionalized organizations that would be, have that opportunity from one of the larger organizations to be looked at. And so coming back to milestones, what we just completed, if you look, we brought on our first independent board of director last month. His name is Mitch Lowe. Mitch was one of the founders of Netflix, and he was personally credited with growing Redbox, if anybody knows the company Redbox, from $0 to $1.5 billion. Things like that. Another huge milestone was we filed our Form 10 earlier. We are now a fully reporting company. We moved up to the bulletin board. One of the milestones that we're going to shoot for in the next year, we're looking to uplist again to a national exchange. We are one of the few companies that actually have D&O insurance for our directors. We are about to bring on another independent board of director very shortly. And so we're building this company to be an institution in this industry and moving forward. Another milestone that you have just looked at, maybe perhaps last week, is that the Department of Justice confirmed that they'd be willing to work with Congress to start the process on some level of removing marijuana from the Controlled Substances Act by taking the first step and rescheduling. Rescheduling marijuana. Currently, marijuana is what they call a Schedule I drug, which means it has no medical value. Now, I'm not going to sit and discuss the Medbox belief behind it, but if there's anybody walked, like I said, Dr. Gupta, and you saw the medical benefit to people with neurological disorders and the infants and the children with epilepsy, you would know clearly, without having to do significant research, that there is medical value to the marijuana herb. And so the Department of Justice last week said they'd work with the DEA to reschedule that out of Schedule I, and that we believe that's one of the first steps to moving towards the removal from the Controlled Substances Act. Also, you would see the Department of Justice just prior to that also putting out a statement saying that they're giving banking guidelines, which is also an opening the door for Congress to allow banks to work with medical marijuana or marijuana companies that are following their individual states' regulations. And that helps Medbox's clients significantly. As I said, part of our consulting is we help people get in business and operate dispensaries and consult with them. And so we have numerous clients where that would benefit and therefore benefit Medbox.
You alluded to, well, actually you said it just straight up, that you see that this is going to be moving from just a medical situation or medical conversation into recreational use. You think that that's where legislature is going to take this? Well,
I think that's where the world is going to go. I couldn't tell you the speed at which this is going to happen, but clearly this drug has already widespread social use, and it has for years across the world. And with the there's so many arguments for the legalization that it far outweighs the arguments against legalization. We also know that the legalization argument is held strong by seniors, generally speaking, those over 65. Mm-hmm. And if nothing else, time will erode that support of prohibition. Mm-hmm. The younger generations and those below 65 significantly favor legalization. And so in times of, I don't know what to call it, global economic crisis, but certainly it's, issues we have globally, economically, it makes financial sense to tax and regulate.
What about the international distribution? I wanted to know how other countries you think would perceive doing business with you and Medbox in their locations.
Well, I think it's the same way that we're trying to approach governments here. One of the things that we also do at Medbox is we help craft rules and regulations. Because of the knowledge and because we're based in safety and security and transparency and compliance, for those states that pass legislation, we offer our services generally free of charge to help them craft rules and regulations. So let's just say you're based in Texas. Let's say Texas passes a law, and it passes a marijuana law, let's call it just a narrow medical marijuana law. It would then go to an agency, perhaps the Department of Health, to craft rules around the legislation on how the industry would operate. So what we do, and we're very unique in this, is we can help the agencies craft a very clean, very efficient, a very regulated and controlled industry. And so when you expand on that internationally, because of our place in the industry, we have this unique capability to help internationally as well. Canada is kind of got to jump the gun on the states. They're already federally legal to have medical marijuana. It just started the 1st of April.
Dr. Dr. Bedrick, I'm
Yep.
sorry to interrupt you. You were absolutely right. There is not enough time to delve into this one. I've got to run, but thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Michael.
My pleasure. All right, Dr. Bedrick, the CEO of Medbox, MDBX. You can reach him there. And special thanks to Monk Media and 1-800-PublicRelations.com for all their PR and media support. We'll be right back.